So this interview is going to be on my mom, who she came from the Philippines and migrated here when she was young. Okay, just give them a little introduction about yourself and your family.
Okay, my name is Joylyn Bautista. I'm 46 years old and I was born in the Philippines. My parents are both Filipinos. My dad already passed away at the age of 62, and my mom is still alive and she's living with my brother.
Okay, so how was your life in the Philippines and what caused you to move to the US?
Uh, Life was all right. Um, we were not rich, but my dad has a stable job. My mom used to be a nurse, but she stopped practicing when she had all of us. So she was just a stay-home mom. Um, but anyway, it wasn't like we didn't have the luxury, but they were able to raise us, all of us, and that's why um, it's a culture there that for the eldest um, child to help out, to help the family put the your siblings to college. So that's why I came to the United States so I can have a future, a better future, and higher pay.
Okay, so how was the process of migrating? Were there any difficulties?
Uh, it wasn't that bad for me because I was lucky that I found this agency. They they provided my fare for the hotels, the accommodation when I first got to Memphis, and the housing was already set up. My work was already ready for me in South Sunflower County Hospital.
So, when you got here, how did you deal with the housing and just living here? Was the pay enough?
Uh, Cost of living in Mississippi is not that high. It's actually low. So even if the pay is low, you're still able to make it because it's not as bad as here. So I was still able to manage. I sent half of my pay home and I helped my parents send all my siblings to college.
Oh wow. So even after giving away a lot of your money to your family back at home, you were fine with the enough money that you had?
Yeah, the rest of whatever money left is for my phone bills and groceries and some extra stuff.
So also, how did you deal with the cultural differences? Did you have to change your personality in any way to fit in?
Uh, Not really changed my personality, but the the only thing is I think you have to try to speak how they speak because they in in Mississippi they have a southern accent and that's the most challenging thing I've encountered because in the Philippines we know English because that's the medium of instruction in schools. But when we got there, we were shocked because we couldn't understand what they were saying. So eventually, I think it was after a month or two, we were able to adjust to the sound. So, because initially I was trying to run away from the phone because it's harder when you don't see the person. But if you see the person talking to you, you kind of are able to read their lips. Like
Okay.
you kind of get what they're saying. So yeah, yeah,
So, also with your work, was it a little different from what you were expecting when you were studying in the Philippines?
it is a little different. Yes, because they expect uh, that you know a lot or you know everything. Um, I I did job responsibilities that I wasn't used to doing from the from home because I used to work in a teaching hospital, and there were interns, there were residents, so we did minimal things compared to when I got here. So when I got here, we had to do everything, right? Because there's no more other
Like,
other extra staff helping.
so how was it actually being away from your family and your home back in the Philippines?
That was the difficult part. I was homesick for, we were all homesick. We were all homesick. It took probably 3 to 4 months before I felt better. Every time I call my parents, my family, I always cry. I cried a
Oh
lot.
wow.
I cried and cried a lot. I thought it was never gonna stop. But eventually I overcome those challenges and difficulties. And mainly because of the friendships, the new friendships that developed. Uh, my roommates, housemates, there were 5 of us, so we bonded. And then there were more new recruits from the Philippines that arrived in different towns. That's really how I coped and overcome homesickness.
So, would you have any advice for any immigrants that are just starting out their life here?
I'd say they just have to hang in there because it's really not easy in the beginning, but eventually it things really just gets better. It's just not easy at first, but it's human nature. We will be able to adapt, and I suggest to really build friendships. That's really going to help a lot, and pray a lot for strength. And I think that's it.
So, those are all the questions we have. Thanks for telling us your story.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure.